So, watching the news today and talking about terrorism all over, just terrorism about the Olympics coming up in Sochi and all the Al Qaeda spreading all through the Middle East, worse than ever. There's more terrorism now than 9/11. Before. The threat's worse today. Like, listen to people like Feinstein and Kerry. They go on the TV and just, oh my God, the boogeyman's worse than ever. We got more enemy, more Al Qaeda, and they're spreading. God, we need more measures in this country to keep us safe from the boogeyman. It goes back to basically the beginning of civilization. It was the inhuman rulers, that took control. They decided that the best way to control the people, well, they probably already knew, but the best way to control is to divide and conquer. So they started creating different languages and religions and draw nations, borders, and put people on different sides of the border with different belief systems and religions and different languages. And you can use that as like a built-in hatred for each other, Religion especially is a good one, but so that the powerful controlling people would secretly get together, and plan and plot to control the people, Basically, the leaders of the different religions and nations were all working together. It's like order out of chaos. You create a situation, attack yourself and say, oh, they did it, and then bam, the people go, It started like in World War I. Well, it just, somebody shot somebody, and next thing you know, this whole big war broke out, and then they said, well, now, after the result of that was, we have to create a world organization. They called it the League, I think it was called the League of Nations or something like that. And that was like the first New World or United Nations, It was like, and so then that didn't work out too good, Over time, so the Nazis came up, and they started World War II and shit, and they didn't, America didn't want to get involved in that. The American people just didn't want to get involved in World War II, so I think Roosevelt got together, the Japanese and the Germans, they all got together and decided the Japanese would attack Pearl Harbor, and Americans would just stand down, and bam, it worked like a charm, The Japanese attacked, and the American people fell for it, hook, line, and sinker, man. And they were all lining up to go join the military, to go fight. So that, I think it was, they all got together on that, and it was all planned out, man. And so we went through history, we had the Nazis, we defeated them, and the Japanese were the enemy. Well, see, America always has to have an enemy. So after that war was over, we got involved. Then it became the spread of communism became the new enemy, right? So there was a war going on in Korea. I guess somehow Americans got involved in that. I'm not sure exactly how that started, but they were involved in that for quite a while, 4 or 5 years or something, and then from there they pretty much got right involved into the Vietnam, and that went on through the 70s, and then after that the Cold War persisted. Well, the Vietnam War was it was brought on by, everybody said it was a false flag. It never even happened. The Gulf of Tonkin incident was just it didn't even happen. It was just a lie. And that's what, they were going to start the war. They were going to get involved in that war either way. So then that enemy, we fought for maybe 10, 20 years, realistically. And then from there was the Cold War. Supposedly the United States was, really technically in a time of peace, but we still had the enemy of the communism, and we had to keep our military strong to get rid of the threat of the commies taking over, That went on for a long time, all the way through the 90s, where, I guess communism fell, and all of a sudden, there was no more threat of communism. So from there, now we've come into the age of terrorism. Well, it's still nationalism, there's still that. There's still religion, there's still all that things to divide the people. But now we got the terrorist threat. He's the new boogeyman. The whole 9/11 thing, everybody knows about that. So that was, the big event. The new Pearl Harbor, which launched the whole police state that we're living in today. So our new boogeyman is Al Qaeda, which brings us to today, right? We're getting ready for this Olympic Games over there in Russia, and I guess there's been like 3 or 4 bombings already. So there's a big threat going on there. Oh God, I wouldn't, what the Olympics has become is like a big rollout of the security state, to show force and security, and like you got to go through levels and levels of security, checkpoints, and freaking you got to let them look up your ass for a bomb at the airport, and as you come into the town, into the stadium, and everything's all these levels of security just to get the people used to it, is what's going on. This Sochi threat, it's like almost guaranteed there's going to be an attack. Also, they're using the weather against the people too, man. It's like they've been promoting this. It started out when I was a kid as like the hole in the ozone layer, right? But then it became the greenhouse effect, and then from there, over a few years later, they came out with the term global warming. And now it's become climate change, and they keep saying, all this thing's gonna happen, the sea level should have fucking risen by now, I guess I can go to the beaches I went to when I was a kid, and they're still the same level. So, it's what's going on is, you see the chemtrails, and there's a thing called HAARP that they use to, I think all the weather's being controlled themselves. They create these storms and wipe out entire towns, and it's just a way of, getting people off the land, using the weather to drive people out and creating droughts and floods. We had flood here in Colorado last year. I'm convinced it was man-made. It was ridiculous. The storm sat there and spun for a week. It just doesn't happen in the middle of the summer or towards the end of the summer. And so they're controlling the weather. These storms, Sandy. They're using the weather as a weapon of war. There's no doubt about it. Just another way of causing chaos. And then problem, reaction, solution, which is known as the Hegelian dialectic, which is what I'm talking about. And I think, and there's like cell phones and all that, all the RF frequency going on. You know what? I don't think cell phones are safe at all. I think it's a big lie. Just telling people, oh yeah, they're perfectly safe, so everybody's going to go use them and die of cancer. I don't own one, man. But another thing pissed me off is they came and put a smart meter on my house. Had no choice. Did it when I wasn't even home. Yeah. So they're ratcheting it up, man. The radio frequencies are used. I think they can use them to control the mind. They really do. With that, with HAARP, and it's all set up. You go down. They've built these arrays, like Tesla tech arrays, everywhere. You know, around the cities. You go like down towards Denver, down into Golden. There's this big flat mountain down there. It's called Table Mesa. And the Tesla tech array on top of that thing is huge. It's like, I know that's going on with being used for weather control. And who knows, God only knows what else they use that frequency for. Yep. Using the weather. It's a great weapon, man. The plausible deniability is, built in. People that question it, they roll their eyes and say, "Huh, you're crazy," and they can actually probably, get people locked up in a nut house for pointing out that they're controlling the weather. It's a plan, man. It's all been planned out. All the Olympic Games, man. If you look at the opening ceremony in London, god damn, was that freaking bizarre. That was freaking scary shit, man. Like dead kids, and sick kids in fucking beds, and monsters. And it was really, really a bizarre, satanic Illuminati ceremony, They're all working together. It's the powers of the world working to control the people, and that's what it's all about. They're gonna, what's the narrative is the Black Widows are attacking the wives of fallen Al-Qaeda members or Taliban or whatever freaking terrorist group they work for, and they're getting revenge on the evil powers that the anti-Muslim people. There was that shot of all the flags hanging from the stadium, and all of a sudden the American flag just fell. That was another strange thing about the London Olympics. Yeah, that was no accident.